Make it a headshot. Shoot me in the temple. Aiming slightly downwards. I need the bullet to travel the shortest possible distance through my brain before it hits my hippocampus. If I'm lucky, the sensation of the gunshot ripping through my skull will only last a few decades. As awful as this sounds, you'd be doing me an enormous favor. Death by a headshot, as soon as possible, is vastly better than the alternative. My ordeal started over 10,000 years ago, at 10:15 this morning. I earn extra money by participating in drug trials. I'm a so-called healthy subject who takes experimental drugs to help assess side effects. Once it was a kidney drug. A few times it's been something for blood pressure or cholesterol. This morning, they told me the drug I took was a psychoactive substance intended to accelerate brain function. None of the drugs I tested so far ever did anything for me in the recreational sense. None gave me a killer buzz or mellowed me out. Maybe I've always ended up in the placebo group. Nothing had affected me at all. Today's drug was different. This shit worked. They gave me a pill at 10:15. Told me to hang out in the waiting room. Only about 30 minutes, the research assistant said. I flopped onto the couch. Read a few articles from Psychology Today. Then a US News. Then an old Scientific American. What was taking them so damn long? I sluggishly turned my head to look at the clock. It was only 10:23 a.m. I'd read 3 magazines in 8 minutes. I thought, this was going to be a long day. I was right. The waiting room had a little bookshelf. I stood up, which took forever. Not because my legs were weak, but because they were slow. A minute to stand, a minute to take 2 steps. I scanned the shelf, picked Moby Dick. Even reaching for it took ages. I actually got bored, just waiting for my hand to reach the book. I slogged back to the couch, collapsed in slow motion, like an astronaut hopping on the moon. I opened Moby Dick, slowly, and began reading. I got as far as Ahab, throwing his pipe into the sea. Chapter 30, before they finally called me back. How are you feeling? They asked. I feel slow, I said. Actually, it's the other way around. Everything seems slow because you're so fast. But my legs, my arms, they're moving in slow motion. Your body seems slow because your brain is fast. It's running 10 or 20 times faster than normal. You're perceiving reality at an accelerated pace. Your body is still constrained by biomechanics. You're actually moving faster than normal. She mimed jogging. But your brain is so much faster that even your fast walk seems very slow to you. I thought about my slow motion flop on the couch. Even gravity seemed weaker. My brain was going at warp 10. That's how I read 3 magazines and 30 chapters of Moby Dick in 15 minutes. They ran tests on me. Physical tests were fun. Juggling 3 balls, then 4, then 6. Easy. Everything was moving so slowly. It was boring. They threw Cheerios. I caught them with chopsticks. They dropped coins. I counted the value before they hit the floor. The cognitive tests, less fun. 50-word search, 3 seconds. Intricate maze, 2 seconds. Slideshow, at 10 images per second. I got 95% right. They told me. I measured over 250 on the Knopf scale, deep into superhuman range. Then, they sent me home. It'll wear off in a few hours, they said, which will seem like days to you. Try to catch up on work emails. The ride home was horrible. 3 metro stops. 35 minutes in real time. Days to me. Just getting out of the office seemed to take an hour. I sprinted, willing my legs faster, but biomechanics held me prisoner. The disconnect was terrifying. I ran into a wall by the elevator, jammed my finger. The pain was intense. For me, it lasted half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. The elevator ride was 4 or 5 hours of descent. Then I sprinted to the metro. That was almost fun. I twisted and juked between people, dodged cars with minutes of clearance. I spent an hour, my time, descending into the subway. Waiting 6 minutes for the train felt like years. I should have stolen Moby Dick. The train roared in slow motion. The squeal of brakes was a long, low tuba solo. Voices were gone. Sound was too low frequency to hear, except a baby. Her screams were whale songs. Back at the research center, I could still hear. Now, impossible. I spent days on that train, listening to the whale song baby, the tuba breaks. Smells weren't changed. The stink of sweat breaks, farts, eternal. I got home. A slow drift through the door, like floating on a lazy river. Relief, I finished 100 years of solitude. 3 minutes had passed. Tried the internet. It was unbearably slow. 100 articles. 3 minutes done. I finished 2 more books. 4 more minutes. I tried to sleep. Walked to bed. 45-minute drift. Lay there. Hours. 10 minutes. No sleep. So I took an Ambien. The pill sliding down my throat was a slug. I read. 10 minutes passed. Read more. 18 minutes. Through the book. It spun. Drifted. Hit the wall with a long rumble. Sank like a flip-flop. The fall speed showed the drug was still intensifying. Read Churchill's history books. Hated them. But fetching another would take hours. 35 minutes after the Ambien. I lay down. Breathed in. Hours. Out. More hours. No sleep. I needed a new plan. Back to the clinic. Maybe they'd have an antidote. I crawled out of my apartment. Didn't lock the door. Took too long. Ran downstairs. Through the lobby. Onto the street. Then, the Ambien hit. Everything stopped. Sound vanished. My motion froze. Time moved thousands of times slower. I fell on the stairs. Tried for hours to adjust my foot. Failed. Rolled my ankle. Hours of increasing pain. I pitched forward. Days of falling. Landed on my shoulder. It popped. With endless sickening tug. By the time I landed, I had a plan. I'd crawl to the tracks. End it under a train. Getting to all fours took weeks. I crawled. Under the turnstile. Onto the escalator. The escalator down was years. A sign said, 20 minutes to the next train. That meant a year. I crawled to a bench. Curled up. Then it got worse. I blinked. Years of darkness. No sound. Only pain. My mind compensated. Voices, patterns. I forgot English. Imagined universes. Became God. My eyes opened. With geologic slowness, weeks for a slit of light. I took out my phone. Decades. Boredom was solid. Like iron in my skull. What are my options? Crawl to the tracks without a train. And suffer. Wait. For the train. Throw myself under. This post is my plan B. My Hail Mary. A long shot. I've spent lifetimes typing this. Hoping someone on this platform, right now, will see me. The man curled under the bench. The man who crawled down the escalator. And end my suffering with a bullet to the temple.